Good afternoon and welcome to the Battle Creek VA Medical Center Tele Town Hall. I'm Brian Pagowski, the Chief of Communication and Community Engagement, and I'll be moderating today's town hall. Today we have an agenda with a lot of information for you. You will be able to hit *3 to ask general questions. More specific questions will be referred to our patient advocate in the area that they belong to, and we will get that question answered for you, and somebody will call back next week. During the call, we will try to answer as many of those general questions after the presentations. Again, to answer a general question, you can hit *3 to be placed in the queue. Now, to begin, we will go to Mr. Doug Dusenberry, our Associate Director.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining today's call. So last month, here at Battle Creek, we celebrated our National Salute to Veteran Patient, which takes place each year during the week of February 14th. This is an annual program to honor and appreciate our veteran patients. National Salute to Veteran Patients encourages organizations and community members to schedule visits here to the VA facilities to volunteer and visit with veterans. We hosted many great events and provided different treats for our veterans during the last week. And we kicked it off with a Super Bowl party and ended that with a Vegas night party. We would also like to give special thanks to the Western Michigan University's football team, the American Legion Auxiliary, the VFW Auxiliary, and all the other great volunteers for supporting those events throughout the week. And I know that our veterans here truly appreciated those events. Another great celebration we get to do is celebrating our centenarian veterans, our veterans that turn 100 years old. We had one veteran turn 100 last month. We continue this tradition of providing a signed certificate from the Secretary of the VA, as well as the Secretary of the VA's coin that's put on a plaque. And our veterans also receive a birthday card and a handmade quilt. And that quilt is made and donated by local volunteer quilting groups. So last month we celebrated Mike, and he served during the Navy in World War II and was actually at the landing of Iwo Jima. He's a Purple Heart recipient. Mike was married for 77 years before the passing of his wife, and he was able, when he met with our director, Ms. Michelle Martin, that he's a family man and a great member of the community. And as always, it is our honor and our pleasure to salute our veterans turning 100. So another great celebration is we get to every month celebrate our outstanding employees here with an Employee of the Month. And our winner for January was Christina Alvarado. She is a telehealth technician. She has a large wealth of knowledge about different forms of technology, and Christina is always advocating for her veterans to receive the highest level of care. Some of the other nominees we like to recognize, they were nominated, just not selected as the winner, was Greg Steinsdorfer, Monica Owens, Addis Wasi, Darcy Herrera, Carolee Hinton, and Heather Smith. And to wrap up some more recognition is we have our Daisy Award winner that we celebrated, Jeannie Bailey. Jeannie was nominated for her exceptional nursing care and dedication to the VA's eye care values. The Daisy Award is a recognition program that celebrates and honors extraordinary nurses for their compassionate contributions to patient care. It's given to deserving nurses based on nominations from patients, families, and coworkers. And each quarter we select a highly deserving nurse for this award. So We'd like to congratulate Jeannie on her selection. Thank you, Brian.
All right, thanks, Doug. Now we're going to go into the construction updates.
Do you want me to get those, Brian?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, just we wanted to let everybody on the call know that we are still doing our best to try to expand and add additional locations that best serve the veterans in our 21 county catchment area. And some of the plans that are in the initial stages right now is we are looking at adding a primary care and mental health outpatient clinic in the Kalamazoo area. That'll probably end up being somewhere along the border of Kalamazoo and Portage. We are right now preparing requests for proposals, which the architects and the owners of the properties will present their designs for us to consider. We're also still trying to work an expansion with an as-built lease down in Coldwater. We've put a couple bids out to the community down in the Coldwater area, but we've not got anything back that is suitable. So we're going to revise our requirements and put that out again. And then we have been looking and want to continue to look at a smaller area up around the Howard City area. But unfortunately, just with budget issues and some other constraints right now, we're going to delay the pursuit of that until next year at the earliest. So some of the current construction and renovation projects that are ongoing is we are undergoing an entire replacement of our fire alarm system, and we expect that to be complete sometime around May. We're finishing up the renovations of inpatient mental health in Building 39-2 West, and again, hoping to have that open and complete by May. We continue to work on improving our signage and our wayfinding around the campus, and we're hoping to wrap that up around June. We're doing renovations in Building 14 and 22 with expected completion around Christmas. We're replacing the elevators across our campus. We've got a large majority of those that are already complete. They're finalizing work on the last few of those and should wrap that up sometime early summer. The EHRM site prep, that is our conversion from the VA's legacy system that has been in use for 30 plus or almost 40 years, switching over to the Oracle electronic health record. We're going through the preparation phases of that with expectation that we will deploy that probably just about a year from today. We don't have an exact date yet. Some non-recurring maintenance that is ongoing, and that's really along with our operating plan, is some of the construction NRM is renovate restrooms around the facility, kind of modernize those, renovate our Building 10, where we're going to move audiology from Building 2 to Building 10. The bids for that contract should open in June. And then we are also funding a replacement and getting a new MRI machine here at the main Battle Creek campus. That is working its way through the acquisition process. And a couple things that are in design phase that we hope to start early next year is renovate the lab area here in Building 2 at the main campus. They do the best they can, but there are some improvements we can make to the waiting area and patient flow. So we're going to embark on that this next year. And then also renovate the PAC, the primary care reception areas here at Battle Creek at the main campus. Just a couple of the minor construction projects going on again here is expanding the community living center with Building 83 and 84. Those are going through the approval process and the contracting process. as is renovating Building 84-1, bringing that up to the same standards with the other parts of the building that have been renovated and upgraded. And then finally, our longer-term strategic capital investment plan, things that are going to take a little bit longer, and these are things that are right now entered in the fiscal year 2027 plan, is a large expansion to the the Grand Rapids Clinic. We're looking at adding approximately 32,000 square feet. We're going to increase our radiology capabilities up there, our specialty capabilities, lab, same-day procedures. If everything goes as planned, it's still a lengthy process to get this done, to get everything awarded, all of the different permits and funding. We are probably 7 to 8 years away from ribbon cutting, but the sooner that we can get this through the pipeline and get that done, we have a big need for that expansion up in that area. We're also looking at renovating a couple buildings here to expand residential and transitional treatment, doing some things in the dental area here to improve, resurfacing our parking areas. That's an ongoing endeavor. We do those kind of in a rotational basis, but everybody knows we have some pretty harsh winters here in Michigan, and we need to stay on top of those. We have some projects to replace interior signage, install automatic door openers at various locations, and then continue to work on improvements and replacements of our plumbing systems across the campus. And that is it, Brian. Thank you.
Well, that's quite a bit, Doug. Thanks for the updates. There's a lot of construction going on and a lot of planned updates, both at the Battle Creek in Wyoming for sure, and the launch of the electronic health record planned for next year. So thanks for the updates. Appreciate all the work that the facilities team does to keep us updated. Again, if you have questions, you can hit *3 to be placed in the queue. And now we'll go on to our next updates. I want to let everybody know that we have a open house planned at our Benton Harbor Clinic on March 24th from noon to 2. So if you haven't been to our relatively new Benton Harbor Clinic at 1275 Mall Drive, you can stop on by and spread the word to veterans in that area who may not be enrolled in VA care as well. We're always looking to enroll new veterans. And we also have an open house planned for our Muskegon VA Clinic on May 10th, which is a Saturday. So again, if you want to spread the word to veterans in the Muskegon area to see that VA clinic, which has only been open about a year, on May 10th. And that both those flyers are available on our Battle Creek VA website. And now we'll go to Shannon McManus-Bowers to talk about some MyHealtheVet updates.
Hello, this is Shannon McManus-Bowers, the Battle Creek MyHealtheVet coordinator. As most of you know, as most of you already know, MyHealtheVet recently transitioned to using ID.me and login.gov instead of the traditional MyHealtheVet username and password. As of March 4th, 2025, all users need to have their identity verified through ID.me or login.gov in order to use MyHealtheVet. Many veterans have asked why we made this change. The change was made for your safety. By using ID.me or login.gov to verify your identity, your personal information that's included in MyHealtheVet and VA.gov is protected. If you are unable to get into your account at this time, you haven't lost your account or any of the information included in your account. You simply have to be verified through ID.me or login.gov at the VA.gov website. I realize that this process is cumbersome and confusing to most people, and I want to apologize for the unease that our veterans experience in the process of creating their account. I want to assure you that we are here for you, and we will do everything that we can to get you connected as painlessly as possible. We have in-person help available at all sites. Battle Creek, Monday through Friday, up in the primary care waiting room. Wyoming, Monday through Friday, down in the patient advocate office. On Tuesdays, we're in Lansing, and on Thursdays, we're in Benton Harbor. And we will be present at both open houses if that date works better for you. I want to hit on a few hot topics that we have heard most frequently. We hear from many people that they have multiple emails, or the email that they have in their account they don't have access to that email anymore. We also hear that the phone number that is used in their account is an old number that they don't have access to. Both of those things can be fixed through the ID.me website. That is not VA.gov. Go directly to ID.me as a website. Or you can call the helpline at 877-327-0022. We've also heard a lot that when people are trying to create their account, it goes in circles over and over and over again, makes them log in multiple times, and they're just getting nowhere. Unfortunately, that's a part of the process. As you are creating your account, it does have you log in multiple times in the process. So just because it's having you log in again does not mean that it's starting you over. It means that you're logging in again to go to the next screen. Stick with it, and by the end, you will absolutely have created your account. We're also hearing that people thought they had created an account, and now it doesn't work anymore. What we're finding is that people created accounts, they created their username and their password, but they didn't go far enough into the process to actually have their identity verified. If you have not taken a photo of your ID front and back and uploaded it into the website, then you have not gone far enough. Once you've taken your photo ID and uploaded it into the website, you're on the home stretch, and everything should be good from there. There are some people whose identity cannot be verified through that process, and it prompts you to do a video call. Please don't be afraid of the video call. The people on the other end are super nice. They answer your questions. They'll lead you through the call, and they're very helpful. If you have any concerns about a video call, lay those to rest, because I do 5 or 10 of them a day, and they are always nothing less than friendly. If you should do a video call, you're going to need a few extra items. In the original process, to just get your ID verified, you need a state ID or driver's license or a passport. In the event that they cannot verify your identity with your driver's license, state ID, or passport, and they refer you to a video call, you will need a Social Security card, a DD-214, an insurance card, or your VA ID. You won't need all of those things, but you will need one item in that list. So if you're coming in for help, please make sure that you bring your state ID or driver's license or a passport, and then as many of those other items, Social Security card, DD-214, insurance card, or VA ID that you have, so that we can guarantee that we will get you through the process while you're there. We definitely haven't failed yet. Lastly, we have some veterans with a desktop computer and a landline phone, and they just don't know what to do because they need help. They don't have a cell phone to upload their photos, and they're very, very frustrated. If you are one of those veterans, please call the VA number, the main line, and extension 31224. Leave a message explaining that you have a landline phone and a desktop computer and you need some help. A case will be entered based on the voicemail that you leave, and I will contact you to make arrangements to get you up and running. I promise we are going to help everyone as much as possible to ensure that nobody loses their access to MyHealtheVet going forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon. We have a number of MyHealtheVet assistance events, as Shannon pointed out, and we also have some in the community. Those events are all listed on our website under our events. If you go scroll down on the Battle Creek VA website to events, those are listed on our website. Again, you can hit *3 to be entered into our queue to ask a question. We're now going to go to updates about community care from Ms. Sarah Schroeder, our Chief of Community Care Service.
Thanks, Brian. Hi, everybody. This is Sarah Schroeder, Chief of Community Care, and I wanted to go over a couple of key items today that you may have heard of if you are involved in receiving community care, and also we're going to cover some information on ER visits and urgent care visits. And Brian, do I need to advance, or are you advancing slides? Okay, great. We're going to start with the request for service overview. We can go to the next slide, and you may have heard from your PAC team or your provider a form that's called a request for service form, or an RFS form. And this is a standardized VA form. It allows our community providers that are authorized to provide community care to request care for veterans that is not covered under the CEOC that we've attached to the original referral. So your original authorization needs additional visits or care, or just more another period of time. And that's what the request of service form is for. It is mandatory that our community providers use this form to request additional care or services, which includes also DME or durable medical equipment. It's the same form. So it's used if they're requesting additional visits or time for the care currently being provided on a current referral, or if they're requesting care of the same specialty that is not covered under the standardized episode of care. A good example of this is if you see a cardiologist and that cardiologist says, I want to refer you to a neurologist. They would need to send us a request for an additional authorization for the neurologist that they want to send you to. So that's an example of that. And that's requesting time for a different care specialty, something outside of their availability to provide. So it'd be a request for service. And again, this is a mandatory form. It's actually been in place for a long time, but in the last 9 months or so, they really became focused on the mandatory use of it. And so we've worked with our community providers doing a lot of education, but we are aware that the veterans come into this and get exposed to this as well, which is why I wanted to cover it. So if we go to the next slide, I want to go over the basics of the request for service form. And that is the community care providers must send us a completed request for service form when requesting continuation of care or additional services. And this is important because in the past, veterans would call their primary care team and they would say, oh, hey, I got an appointment next week with that cardiologist, so I'm going to need another consult or another referral. And we actually cannot provide continuation of care under those situations anymore. The reason is it has to be initiated by the provider, and they have to provide us documentation to support it. So in the past, yes, we've been able to do that, but unfortunately now we do require the community provider to be involved. The required RFS form is sent to the community provider with every consult. They can also call community care to request a form. Your PAC team usually has one as well, but we do send it every time we send them a referral. The clinical documentation must be provided by the community provider that supports the request. So if they're asking to send you to another specialist or they're asking for additional care, they have to upload along with that request. They need to send us the justification or their clinic notes that show us what care they've provided and what their plan is so that they need the additional care. All right, I'm going to the next slide. The RFS must be sent with ample response time unless it's an emergency. We can handle them under emergency conditions if they need something very quick because of an urgency. For the most part, though, if it's simply continuation of care, as if you've been seeing a cardiologist and they're going to need to see you again for another 6 months, we would expect them to send that to us 30 days before it's required so that we have enough time to process the request. The request or the RFS form will be processed and the community care eligibility is verified. It may be required for the veteran to receive the services at the VA if the services are available and the veteran is not drive time eligible. This is something we've gotten a lot of questions about because I will give you an example. Perhaps a consult for chiropractic was put in and you live within 60 minutes of the Battle Creek VA. But when they put that in, there was too long of a wait time outside of the Mission Act standards, and so you were authorized to go to community care under wait time eligibility. That is an episodic approval for eligibility, and so if they're asking for you to receive care for another 6 months, when that new request goes through and that consult gets processed, you have to be eligible for community care again. So if you're not drive time eligible, if there's still a wait, then you would be wait time eligible. But if there isn't a wait anymore, then it could be decided that you are no longer eligible for community care. We can provide the services in a timely manner at the Battle Creek, and so we would notify you and the community provider that would have to be an internal service at that point. But that's decided at each new consult. The eligibility is determined if you're not drive time eligible. The big thing to remember is the care should not occur until a new authorization is verified, because this RFS form is a request, it's not an authorization. And so if you have an appointment in a week and you say, well, they submitted the RFS form, unless they have received a new authorization, that care is not authorized yet. All right, next slide. Now we're going to go into urgent and emergent care. And for emergency medical care, during a medical emergency, you should immediately seek care at the nearest emergency department. A medical emergency is an injury, illness, or symptom so severe that a delay in seeking immediate medical attention would be reasonably expected to be hazardous to your health or your life. If you believe your life or health is in danger, call 911 or go to the nearest emergency department right away. That's always, if you're not sure, you definitely should err on the cautious side and call 911 or go to the ER. If your condition does not meet this criteria, please consider urgent care at the Battle Creek VA, our Tele ED, which is you can call in and they will put you through to speak with them over the phone for a ED over the telephone visit, or a community urgent care. You can attend one of those utilizing your Mission Act urgent care benefit. Just note that urgent care, the payment process of urgent care is not handled at the Battle Creek Community Care Department. That is handled at a national level. All right, and the next slide. And so if you go to an emergency room, inform the emergency care provider to report your emergency treatment to the VA Centralized Emergency Care Reporting Center. That's the call line. And there is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week phone line that will respond, that will answer the call and will take all of the details to report your claim for the ER. That must be done within 72 hours of you reporting to the ER. Almost every ER in the area is in this network, and so if you tell them this, that a lot of times they will make the call for you. Sometimes veterans or their family members, they would prefer to call themselves just to make sure that it's done, and you can do that as well. There is a phone number that is 844-724-7842. And that is the hotline to call to report your ER visit within 72 hours. And again, you or somebody acting on your behalf can do that. Just know that they will want details such as the reason you went, the location, the date, time, that kind of information. Notify the VA of the emergency event allows the covered veteran to have their emergency treatment authorized by the VA. Failure to report the emergency care to the VA within 72 hours of the start of the emergency treatment may impact your eligibility for the VA to cover the cost of the treatment. However, even if the notification to the VA did not occur timely within that 72 hours, the emergency treatment may still be eligible for VA reimbursement. So if for any reason they weren't called within 72 hours, make the call as soon as you're aware, because it still may be eligible to be paid. And, so if you're not sure, always call, because when you call, they will let you know if it was already been reported. So here's some emergency care basics that I really wanted to highlight. And the first one that I want to point out is, please, that part about making sure that it's an emergency to go to the emergency room. There has been some incidences lately when people that are going for minor situations, like minor non-life-threatening issues or non-severe issues, that the VA does have the option to not pay those if it does not meet a layperson's definition of an emergency. So that's why I wanted to make sure to offer the other options of urgent care at Battle Creek, urgent care in the community, so that you know that there are other options, and ER is not your only option, because we certainly would never want anybody to go to the ER for something minor and not have the coverage due to it being minor. So that's the first thing, that it must meet the criteria of an emergency. If in doubt, though, go to the ER. If you're admitted as an inpatient from the ER, it's automatically covered for up to 30 days that you're in the hospital. And the hospitals know that, and even if you need to be transferred, the hospitals are aware that they need to contact that number again to let the VA know that you're in the hospital still, or you're being transferred maybe to a higher level of care. Here's something really important. The authorization from that ER visit stops when you are discharged from the ER. If you see a specialist at the ER and they say you're going to have to follow up with the specialist tomorrow, that visit tomorrow is not covered. That is, there's no follow-up care that is covered from an ER visit. So it's very, very important that you contact your primary care team immediately so that we can make sure that any follow-up care is authorized. If you were seen at the ER, say on a Friday or a Saturday, and they want you to see a specialist on the next day, see the specialist, let us know Monday, and we will get everything, covered and taken care of for you. But it's really important the next business day that you contact us or your primary care team so that we can get that in place. Ambulance payments are handled through the Veteran Transportation Department, and there's some being handled by Optum at this point. It's not covered under your actual community care authorization, but if you call Community Care Department, we can always put you in contact with the right place. Okay, for the urgent care benefits, it's a much different process, and we've had some veterans very upset about this, so I want to make sure to cover it. There's a VA facility locator or a phone number that you can find urgent cares in network that are near you based on your zip code. The phone number is 877-881-7618, and you can look up your nearest location by you calling that. This is for same-day care for minor illnesses or injuries like cold, strep throat, sprained muscles, skin and ear infections. The eligibility is that you must be enrolled in VA health care and have received care through the VA within the past 24 months. To check eligibility, the veterans can contact a number. I can give that here. It's 800-698-2411, and you follow the prompts. You select option 1, then option 3, then option 1 again. The urgent care facility cannot require the veteran to pay a copay in order to be seen. So please know that you are never expected or required to make a copayment or make any sort of payment at the urgent care facility when you're seen there. So this is the next slide is this urgent care benefit process, and this is how it's different. You find out urgent care network, you present to that urgent care, and you tell them that you'd like to be seen and that you want to utilize your VA urgent care benefit, and they have to call. That urgent care provider office has to call right then. They have an eligibility phone number that they have to call and get your authorization number. That needs to be done at that time of checking in, because sometimes veterans leave and then they find out that the facility never called to get authorization. So the urgent care then pays or provides the care. The veteran leaves. They may have a prescription. If it's up to 14-day prescription, you can go fill that at almost any pharmacy and it'll be covered up to 14 days. And then the urgent care sends your documentation and the bill to the VA and Optum, and you're done. So if you need any follow-up or if you're going to need more medication after 14 days, then you would need to follow up with your primary care team. But the big thing to remember is that authorization has to be obtained when you first check in, okay? And last slide, I just had some contact numbers. The ER notification number I already gave, and I want to give Battle Creek Community Care's phone number. This is the number you can call, and there's also a phone tree, so you can select a number to report your ER visit or something like that. It is, the direct number is 269-223-5011, or if you call to the VA, the Battle Creek's main number of 269-966-5600, our extension in community care is 35011. And I hope that information was helpful. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Sarah. Again, if you have a question, you can hit *3 to be placed in the queue to ask a general question. We're going to get to some of those in just a second. We are streaming the slides and information to our Facebook, the Battle Creek VA Medical Center Facebook, so you can refer to this. It is being streamed live, and you can watch the video after this as well on our Battle Creek VA Medical Center Facebook, so you can refer to the slides and some of the phone numbers that Sarah referred to there after this presentation. Okay, we're going to get to some of the questions in the time we have remaining here. There was a question that was sent in from the live stream, Sarah. Will veterans be able to get care from community care providers from more than one provider, but for the same condition? For example, chiropractor and acupuncture both at the same time, like we were able to in the past.
There are no limitations on receiving both of those services at the same time and by the same provider if they are in Optum's network to provide both those services. The only caveat to that is they both have to be medically justified, and for any continuation of care, that community provider has to provide documentation of both of those, both the acupuncture and the chiro, and why continued care is needed. But there are no limitations on receiving both chiropractic and acupuncture at the same time. But the provider that you're using has to be authorized with Optum to be able to provide both those services, or else they wouldn't be able to be paid for it.
Thanks. I see also in the chat there's a couple comments about the phone number for our Tele Town Hall showing up as potential spam on your phone. So we will look at that with our provider and see if there's anything that we can do about it. It may be your cellular provider. I'm not sure. It's something we'll have to research, but we will look into that. Thanks for those comments. All right. We're going to go to Mark with a question. Go ahead, Mark, with your question. Hi, Mark. Go ahead with your question. Hi, Mark. Did you have a question? Mark, are you there? Hi, Mark. Did you have a question? Mark might not be. All right. Mark had some questions about some of the executive orders and how you read some articles pertaining to some recent terminations of the employees. Mr. Dusenberry, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah, thank you, Brian. So there are several questions in the chat that deal with terminations and executive orders and, potential future reductions. Our mission here at Battle Creek remains unchanged. We have been negligibly impacted, a very small number of terminations thus far. We are still able to meet the mission. We are still committed to meeting the mission. And moving forward, our focus is going to be to continue to support the veterans and provide the care the veterans need. And as Ms. Martin always says, Battle Creek's been here for 100 years. Battle Creek will be here for another 100 years. And our mission and our focus remains unchanged.
All right, thanks, Mr. Dusenberry. Next, we'll go to Joel with a question. Joel, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I had heard, I think it's probably now it's got to be a couple of years ago, that there was going to be a change made so that we would be able to use, say, the Lansing CBOC and be able to choose whether or not we want to go to Battle Creek or Ann Arbor, whichever would be the most convenient, mainly for combining appointments. I was wondering if that change has ever been made.
So for different specialty appointments, you mean, or what type of?
Yeah, specialty appointments.
Dr. Shaw, do you know, or?
I can answer it, Brian.
Oh,
go ahead.
All right. No, go ahead, Mr. Dusenberry. That's fine. I'll add if you have anything.
Yeah, so if you're enrolled, if you live in the area, you have a choice to enroll at the Lansing CBOC for, your primary care, and then any of the other services there. When it comes to specialty care, if it's something that we don't offer here at Battle Creek, we have a really good partnership with the four VA medical centers. And what we really do with those is we look at where those services are offered within the VA, and we look at things like wait times and so forth too. And those will be things that your team or the RCI, the referral coordination teams, when you have consults put in, they'll have conversations with you about what your different options are if you are eligible for community care. But they'll have those conversations too, that if you wanted to stay within the VA, Ann Arbor may be able to get you in 30 days or so forth, for that. But you're free to enroll at the Lansing CBOC at any point that you want.
Yeah, well, I am enrolled in the Lansing CBOC, but sometimes for convenience, instead of going to Battle Creek for one appointment and then a week later going to Ann Arbor for a different appointment, it would be more convenient to be able to combine the two appointments, say, at Ann Arbor, because Battle Creek only offers one of the services. And that was the reason for my question. And like I said, I had heard it's got to be a couple of years ago that option was going to become available.
Yeah, and those are questions and conversations I would have with your primary care provider. That we do our best to try to bundle appointments to provide prevent multiple trips and so forth. Those would be conversations. There would be nothing that would prevent it. Again, if it's for a specialty appointment, though, as you know, you'd need the consult to be able to go to Ann Arbor. But I would have those conversations with your primary care team about if you wanted to bundle appointments, and they can see what they can do to arrange that and make that happen.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, next question comes from Donald. Donald, go ahead with your question. Hi, Donald, go ahead with your question.
Is this about the MyHealtheVet? I'm 80 years old and I'm a Vietnam vet. All the Korean vets are still out there. We can't handle all that complicated computer shit. Hell, I'd rather somebody knew my records than have to go through all that bullshit. Now I got to go down to the VA every time I need meds and have them pick this right my prescription or give me the meds. Why can't you just leave it the way it was?
Sure. Yeah.
Hi, this is Shannon.
Go ahead, Shannon.
I really apologize for the strong feelings that you and many other veterans have about the new digital process. And I want to do everything in my power to make it easier for you. If that involves one-on-one lessons or working through the kinks with you, I'm happy to do it. I will get your information from the patient advocates and I will give you a buzz and we will discuss it.
Thanks, Shannon. Next question is from Toby. Go ahead, Toby, with your question.
Well, my question is I'd like to know what the RFF form number is, because Corewell Health, that I have my appointment, they're trying to extend my care because they in the few days that I had, they're booked the rest of the year, so I don't have surgery until April 28th, and my care runs out the 23rd is the last day, and I have pre-surgical testing the 25th. Well, I've been working on this thing for 5 or 6 weeks, and I don't know if it'll get okayed before I am supposed to have surgery or not, because the hospitals, Corewell Health had no idea that they had to extend it, even though that I called them 5 or 6 times and told them that they need to send in a form to community care to extend my services, and they just never did. Is there something that we can do to help them?
Yeah. We do some education with them, but we can give you the form number. Sarah, can you?
Yep, the form number is 10-10172.
172. Okay. I appreciate that.
Yep, and you can always tell whoever's at that surgery. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being proactive on that. And you can always tell them to call community care, because we can explain it to them and give them the fax number and stuff also.
Okay, yeah, I know that community care have been super great with me, because I called them and said, well, I thought this was done, and what they did is they sent in the wrong dates. They sent in my aftercare visit dates, which is May 25th after my surgery, but it didn't do the pre-surgical or my surgery dates. So, yeah, it's a big mess. So community care has been helping me try to get that through, but I kind of would like to just work with Corewell Health and let them know this is what they need to do. If another veteran comes in here, you need this form, and this is how you get it taken care of, because, like I said, it's been over 30 days I've been trying to work on this, and I call them once and twice a week, and they still they're not sure. Well, supposedly now I talked to someone in community care, and they've got I don't know if they got the form, but they got the paperwork from Corewell Health about my surgeries and stuff. But yeah,
Thanks, Toby.
Yeah, they need a lot of help.
All right, great. Thank you.
Next question comes from Paul. Paul, go ahead with your question.
Does feel like.
Hi, Paul. Go ahead with your question.
It has to do with MyHealtheVet.
Okay.
And it's in the renewing the prescription section.
Mm-hmm.
You get a little, in the bottom right-hand corner, you get an I next to your prescription. And then nowhere does it tell you what the I means. And then the second part of that is if you are having a situation, and I've called the pharmacy at Battle Creek, and they say they cannot access what I see. So how do we straighten out so that if I have a question on my prescription that I don't know what that I means, and if somebody can help me, what do I have to do to get them to see what I'm seeing?
Hello. So when you are looking up your medications in MyHealtheVet, there's two different medication buttons. One of them is Renew My Prescription, and the other one is your medication list. When you click on Renew Your Prescriptions, it's only the medications that have active renewals at that time. If you click on My Medication List, then every medication you've ever had will be in the list, and underneath each medication will be the explanation for the little I. It'll say that it was shipped on said date, or it's going to be shipped, or there's a delay, or it can only be ordered over the phone. But you have to go into your actual medication list in order to see those memos.
I did not know that. And then as far as a pharmacist, if you're talking to them, they can't see what you're talking about?
Well, I just talked to pharmacy yesterday, actually. They cannot see the MyHealtheVet version of your meds. They see the pharmacy version of your meds. But I did talk to them the other day and explain the difference between the refill list and the medication list.
Yeah.
So, so they will be explaining that to people when people call in with a question and think that their med just vanished off of their list. Now they have the education to explain. This is a recent change. When they transitioned MyHealtheVet over to va.gov, they did it slowly, one thing at a time, and this medication change is recent, so many people need it to be updated. But I thank you for bringing that up because there's probably plenty of people on the call that needed to know that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Ooh. Next question comes from Michelle. Go ahead, Michelle, with your question.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead with your question.
Okay. Where are the current mental health facilities?
For outpatient or inpatient or?
Outpatient.
So we have outpatient mental health at all our Battle Creek VA locations. So that would be the main Battle Creek VA, Benton Harbor, Wyoming, Muskegon, Lansing, all have outpatient mental health.
Okay, because they had me talk to a counselor from Muskegon, and I live in South Haven, so I'm my primary care group is in Benton Harbor. So I don't know why they didn't sign me up with down there then. I'm confused and then the person that I talked to in Muskegon, it was a telecall, and we had some trouble getting it linked up because I'm not a techie.
Okay.
And
Dr. Shaw
so
might have some
our
coverage.
appointment was really super short, and he said that we would get another appointment, but I haven't heard anything, and I know that he was having a medical procedure, and I don't know if he's back. I don't know anything about it, so I don't know what to do.
Okay, we can check on that. We might have some coverage.
Brian, can we get contact information so we can get back with all the concerns and appointments?
Yeah, we'll check on that, Michelle. We might have some cross coverage issues right now, so we'll have somebody call you and check on that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
All right, it looks like we're coming to the top of the hour. I want to thank everybody for joining us. I know we have some questions left in the chat and some personal questions that were also dropped in here, and we will refer those to the specific service and to our patient advocates to get put out as well during next week. So those will definitely be followed up on. We appreciate everybody joining today's call. Again, the call was also streamed to our Facebook. So if you missed any of the information or any of the phone numbers, you can go to our Battle Creek VA Facebook to catch the information or replay it and find some more of the information there as well. So thank you all for joining today's call. We appreciate you for choosing the Battle Creek VA Medical Center, and thank you for your service. Have a great day and have a great weekend.